It is not a great time to be a Mega Man fan right now. How many years have we been waiting for a Legends 3 or an X9? Hell, I'll even take a new Battle Network game. But while Capcom has only announced that they're working on Resident Evil, Onimusha, and Pragmata this year, I went through my recommendations and archive, and I found 10 little-known Mega Man-inspired games, something to tide our Mega Man itch, until we finally hear some good news from Capcom. Power Blade 2, NES, 1992. Power Blade 2 is the 80s American action hero to Mega Man's anime protagonist, released late in the console's life cycle by Nazumi Man. This game is frequently cited as the rich man's Mega Man. You play as definitely not and legally distinct Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's tasked by the US government to destroy the Delta Foundation. The Delta Foundation has created a new cyborg soldier that's threatening global security. It's up to you to infiltrate their facility, defeat 4 mid-bosses to unlock the final area, and shut down the operation. You start with the stage select screen allowing you to tackle 4 distinct sectors in any order. The controls are very weighty and precise, including a satisfying slide mechanic to dodge under projectiles. However, instead of a gun, you wield a power boomerang, which can be thrown in 8 directions and bounce back. This allows for a complex aiming and moving system that Mega Man never had. The implementation of the Robot Master system here is the power suit. Defeating mid-bosses earns you specialized suits: Newt, crawling on walls/ceiling, Wet, enhanced swimming, Rocket, flight, and Patriot, orbiting defensive shield. The game is a balance between platform, tactical combat, and the slide and shoot of Mega Man, a great contender. The Krion Conquest, NES, 1990. The Krion Conquest is Mega Man if he were a magical girl instead of a robot. Developed by Vic Takai, this game is probably the most shameless clone on the NES, but it is also one of the most technically impressive. You play as Francesca, aka Dorp, in the original Japanese, a young witch who is summoned to stop the Krion Empire, a robot army that is invading Earth. While the North American release stripped out almost all the narrative, the original Japanese version features full anime-style cutscenes between stages, something that was extremely impressive on the NES. Francesca jumps, shoots, and moves, feel one-on-one with Mega Man. Released a full year before Mega Man 4, this game featured crouching, charge shot, and Francesca can also shoot directly upwards as well. Instead of defeating bosses to gain power, Francesca starts the game with access to multiple spells: fire, freeze, shield, etc., that she can cycle through at any time, as well as a broom that she can summon and ride on like Rush. Starting off with all abilities is strange, but it allows for better problem solving from the start. I recommend playing the Japanese version. It's the superior option. Takoman Koizatsu World 2011. Developed by the Japanese Doujin Circle Ulukalai. This game is technically a fan game based on the Toho Project universe, but you don't need to know anything about anime shrines or bullet hells to play it. You play as Takarin, a chaotic, deformed octopus-like creature, a clear parody of Toho character, rampaging through a distorted world. The story will fly over the heads of anyone not into Touhou fan and meme culture, but the story isn't the point. While it looks like a beat-em-up, it is pure Mega Man Zero, clear and direct inspiration. You have the precise wall kicking, the dash jump, and the charge attacks directly lifted from it. But Takoman adds a combo-heavy combat system, where instead of just shooting from a distance, you are encouraged to brawl as well. You have a massive move list that involves directional inputs like Smash Bros., allowing you to juggle enemies in the air, slam them into the ground, and cancel animations into supers. The bosses, especially, are spectacle. They shoot out bullet hell like waves of projectile. You have to dodge, while pummeling them with combo. Despite how it looks at first glance, this game is pure anti-normative punk vibes. Rockman X, Famicom bootleg, 1992. While the other games on this list are legitimate commercial products that took inspiration from Capcom, Rockman X, also known as Thunder Blast Man, is a notorious Taiwanese bootleg developed by Sasha. Usually, bootleg implies an inferior copy, but Rockman X is famous in retro circles for being a pirate game that is actually good. You play as a hero who's a bizarre mix of Mega Man and Batman. The plot is nonsensical, starting off as a basic hero saves a damsel from a villain story. But that gets thrown out the window when dinosaurs and Pokemon enemies make an appearance, despite its shady origins. The gameplay is surprisingly competent. You have a boomerang attack you can aim in 4 directions, as well as a grappling hook for flying upward, and horizontal flying punches that act as both an attack and traversal. It is very fun to play for an NES title, and the level design is surprisingly good. It is also notoriously difficult, with unforgiving traps and painful enemy placement, so I do recommend utilizing save states if you don't want to replay it over and over and over again. Mesmerizing traps and enemy placement. Gigadeep, 2005. If you're looking for a clone that sparkles with its own uniqueness, Gigadeep by the Japanese developer Peppersoft is a hidden gem you're looking for. The story is basic Mega Man, A mad scientist has unleashed a robot army to destroy the world, and it is up to you to stop them. You start with access to 2 characters, a shooter archetype and a melee-focused saber, but can eventually unlock 5 distinct playable characters, each with their own playstyle. The game features 8 main levels and 2 side stages, and they contain hidden research nodes, which unlock extra abilities. The game also features a currency-based shop system, where you spend EP to buy critical upgrades. On top of buying new weapons, you can also upgrade stuff like your jump, as well as buy utility weapons like the anchor shot, which lets you destroy the instant death spikes that litter the stages. The gameplay can range from easy to the masochistic Pro++ difficulty. The art style may look rough and thrown together, but the gameplay is deep, complex, and well thought out. Rockman R 2010. I'm not gonna lie, both Gigadeep and Rockman R were difficult games to find, practically ancient abandonware. Gigadeep was hard to find, but Rockman R, Dr. Wily's counterattack, was even harder. The only legit way to get this game is through eBay, but I managed to find a version by digging through sketchy download sites. Anyway, this was a legendary release during the height of the golden age of fan games, and is beloved by the Japanese doujin community. The story is your standard, Wily is at it again, but it perfectly mimics that Famicom style of design, but utilizing the power of modern PC to push gameplay beyond the NES. It introduces cutscenes and sprite work that the original NES couldn't handle, and the roster of Robot Masters designs that feel like they're taken from actual canon. Rockman R takes the original gameplay and focuses on achieving level design perfection. The game has a special weapon utility, where the levels are designed with specific barriers and interactions that require you to use your arsenal creatively to traverse the map. It is widely considered one of the most authentic feeling fan games ever made. Nazumi Man, 2014. Nazumi Man looks nothing like Mega Man. It looks like it was drawn in MS Paint, but this Japanese freeware title is the prime example of gameplay over graphics. Developed by the doujin circle Tokimeki, this game is widely cited by speedrunners and hardcore fans as having psychics that are actually better than some official Capcom releases. Nazumi is Japanese for mouse. You play as a mouse, defeating 7 other Nazumi and a kangaroo. It's cute and silly and very charming. Once you get past the simple visual, the game feels incredible. The developer clearly studied the NES Mega Man engine, down to the frame. The jump height, the sliding speed, and the buster travel time are so fine-tuned that they play better than the Capcom originals. The game is famous for its fair difficulty, unlike the Kaizu-style traps seen in other fan games. Nazumi Man relies on smart enemy placement and readable pattern. The weapons you get from bosses also contain useful utility. For example, the Ice Wall isn't just a shield, but also a platforming tool needed to find secrets in other stages. This is a short, punchy, and mechanically flawless experience. MegaMari, 2006. I'm suddenly noticing a big overlap between Mega Man and Toho fans. Developed by the legendary doujin circle Twilight Frontier, the same team that worked with Zun on the official Toho fighting games. This title is widely regarded as one of the most brutal, polished, and mechanically dense clones ever created. You control the ordinary magician, Kirsame Marisa, and the puppeteer, Alice Murgatroyd. The plot is lighthearted. Marisa wants to steal more books from Patchouli Knowledge's library, but Patchouli has turned her mansion into a mechanical fortress filled with Robot Master versions of other Toho characters, like Cerno and Sakuya. MegaMari introduces a tag team system years before Mega Man X8, where you can take both Marisa and Alice into every stage, and can switch between them instantly. Marisa plays like standard Mega Man, whereas Alice is more technical. She attacks using puppets, and often has different trajectory options or utility. The small size of the play space, combined with the large, numerous, and chaotic pathing of the projectile, makes this one of the hardest games on the list. They really did adapt that bullet hell genre into a jump and slide shooter with this one. Rockochan, 2012. Developed by the Japanese indie developer King Sakutu, Rockochan started as a flash game, which usually implies floaty controls and bad hitboxes. Instead, it's a game with controls and physics so tight, it feels like it's an NES bootleg. You play as Rocco, a robot girl created by Dr. Thane to stop the evil Dr. Man. Unlike the edgy nature of Mega Man X, Rockochan captures the bright, Saturday morning cartoon feeling of the original NES trilogy. The game uses a pastel-heavy color palette that gives the game a softer, distinct look while still being sharp 8-bit. Mechanically, Rockochan is the core of Mega Man 2 with the mobility of Mega Man 3. There is no charge shot, but there is a slide. You need to fire rapidly and precisely to defeat your foes. The Robot Master weapons are fairly standard, with a force weapon that creates platforms, and the jet power is used for a horizontal shooter minigame. The game is famous for its dash mechanic, but it's nothing like the MegaMan X dash. This one is a dedicated button for a quick and snappy slide to dodge projectiles. Azure Striker Gunvolt, 2014. Calling this one a knockoff is almost an insult, as it fits this list because it was created by Inti Creates, the literal team of ex-Capcom staff who developed the Mega Man Zero and ZX series. When Capcom focused away from the Blue Bomber, they decided to just make their own Mega Man. Set in the cyberpunk world, you play as Gunvolt, GV, a teenager who is an adept, a human with Septima powers. GV wields the power of electricity, aka Azure Striker, and works as a freelancer, fighting against the Sumeragi Group, a massive conglomerate that hunts and experiments on adepts. The story is very text-heavy and melodramatic, featuring a virtual pop idol named Lumen, who is actually a manifestation of GV's soul, who sings J-pop tracks during gameplay when you perform well. It leans very hard into 90s anime/light novel culture that X and ZX tried to imitate. The core gameplay is very different from Mega Man though. GV's gun does no damage. What it actually does is tag enemies, and tagged enemies become captured when you activate your flash field. This creates a unique gameplay rhythm where you tag enemies and capture them all at once for massive combos. This game is paradoxically the least Mega Man game on this list, while trying to be a spiritual successor to the X and ZX games. Clone doesn't always mean it's an inferior product made by cash-grabbing lazy devs. All the devs on this list are driven by the passion and love they have for the Mega Man game, and poured that into making their own games, each one very different and unique despite them being clones. I hope some of you have decided to pick up at least one of these games and realize how much the Mega Man legacy lives on.